My fellow alchemists and mystics, there are 8 perfections that are talked about in the Vedic knowledge that you can attain through the process of self-mastery. Now, whether you are going for yoga practices or alchemist practices like I teach inside of our alchemist course, or you find some other path that works for you, I want you to know what's available for you as you continue to grow. As I've grown over the last several years, going up and down the scales of consciousness, discovering, experiencing, learning, growing, I've been able to achieve a certain levels of self-mastery that has really expanded my life. And in no way, shape, or form do I consider myself a master. First of all, the master knows there's no such thing as mastery. We are all students of life, and I am probably at the very bottom rung of what actual masters are, if I'm even on the ladder at all. It's not really about that. We're all progressing. We're all growing. And whether you do it in this lifetime or 100 lifetimes from now, you will get there as well. But why not use this life to grow as much as you possibly can, to take full advantage of being in the human form and full advantage of what's available to you? In this video, I'm going to share with you the 8 mystic perfections that can be attained through intense and long, consistent practice, my own experiences with some of them, and we can expand our mind to what's possible in the human form. Let's get to work. Hi, my name is Nakula Das, and I help men master their S3X energy so you can become a powerhouse both in and outside the bedroom. Make sure you go to the link in the description below and take the free transmutation guide. This is a free program I put together for you so you can begin your journey to S3X mastery. Anima, Mahima, Garima, Laghima, Prapti, Prakamya, Isitva, I hope I'm saying that right, and Vasitva. These are the 8 mystic perfections attained by extremely powerful yogis and practitioners of alchemy. So what do they mean? Anima is the ability to make one subtle, meaning to go into your subtle body, and by attaining this, to make one extremely small. This person is capable of holding a body similar to an atom. In the alchemist's way of seeing things, everything is alive, everything is vibration, and this has been proven by modern science. And we, as in the modern world, have been able to penetrate the atom. We can see what the atom is made of, a nucleus. We could see the nucleus of a cell. We can see the electron. We could see the proton. So in a way, we've been able to dive into these bodies. But according to the ancient scriptures, men were actually able to reduce themselves into the atom and enter into the metaphysical universe, the universe of the unseen. I like it to that movie Ant-Man, who was able to condense himself and go into the very fabric of the universe and be able to play in that world. That is one mystic siddhi or one mystic power available for you through the practices of yoga. And when I say yoga, I'm not talking about like modern yoga, like Lululemon and trying to get a tight booty and all that stuff. That's not even yoga. It's like some kind of watered down version of exercising. I'm talking about real yoga, which is practiced by high-level practitioners and mystics. Mahima is the second siddhi, and after attaining this siddhi or power, man can make himself infinitely huge. He can stretch his body to an extent beyond our imagination, and at the same time, he can also expand nature. Now, I haven't been able to expand my body at all, but I have been able to expand my consciousness and my subtle body, actually expanding my auric field and retracting it. This is something that we practice inside of the Alchemist course, this ability to move our auric field out and then in and have a tangible feeling of our subtle body. This is a really cool experience and allows you to dive more into your own subtle form leaving and controlling your material form in a more powerful way. I'll also say, if you've ever heard of, there's a teacher around, he's left his body, and his name, oh my goodness, I could picture him right now. Oh, Stuart Wilde is his name. Stuart Wilde talks about his experience of seeing these mystic beings, and that they were massive, they were huge, like giants. And of course, we know from the ancient scriptures, whether we look at the stories of Samaria, or we look at even in the Bible, and some of the Vedic knowledge talking about massive beings, giants. So we can tell from the histories of the world that giants existed, and that we have these massive beings, and that we also can attain bodies like that through the perfection of our own subtle bodies. Garima, which is the third siddhi, and after attaining this height of consciousness, a person can become so heavy. This is heaviness, that no one can move him. Just like the powerful Pandava Bhima. So if you know the story of the Mahabharata, in fact, my name Nakula comes from one of the characters in the Mahabharata who was a demigod, or part of the Pandava family. They were all demigods. Arjun being the main character, the prince, and Bhima, who was a famous character in the Mahabharata, was unable to move the tail of Hanuman. And if you're unfamiliar with Hanuman, Hanuman is the monkey god who was a great servant of the Lord Rama. And Bhima, who was full of power, could not move the tail of Hanuman. Now, in the more modern world, there are Taoist monks and practitioners who do standing meditation practices, and I introduce these practices in the Alchemist course, who are actually able to stand for hours on end. We did a standing meditation competition with my own students, and we had students stand for over 2 hours in one posture, just stand there, completely just standing there. And it's said that the masters, and you can look on videos and such to see this, where people are trying to push them and move them, and they're so heavy, they've condensed and made themselves so dense that they become immovable objects. This is another attainment or perfection. Laghima, which is the fourth siddhi, is one's ability to become light, to become weightless, and can fly faster than air. We've seen videos of people floating, or at least suspending themselves in the air, kind of like Neo in the Matrix, right? This ability is perfected. We know of stories of Jesus being able to walk on water. Jesus wasn't the only one to be able to do this. There are thousands of stories of yogis and mystics being able to do this. So to be able to make yourself light. Now, I personally have never been able to make my body float, but I have had the experience of making my subtle body light, where I've had out-of-body experiences, where I've left my body and witnessed my own body in front of me or beneath me, and actually floated to the edge of my bed. Now, I did get freaked out and I came back into my body, but as I continue to practice and get to those levels, and I myself, I'm very honest in my journey, because I don't want to present myself as anything that I'm not. In my own journey and experience, as I've gone into very high levels of consciousness and frequencies, I've been able to, experience, like, one thing I can do right now is lucid dream. I'm becoming more and more conscious in my dreams and being able to direct myself in my dreams. It's incredible how vivid they can become and how much consciousness and power that you can have in that. So no, I haven't been able to float on air or present myself. Again, these are masters of great levels, but I truly believe in all of this, and I believe that these can be attained, and I believe that through constant practice and time, you can attain these powers. Prapti gives the seeker the ability to reach any place in the universe according to his will. So this is essentially the ability to travel from planet to planet or explore any place in the universe. Now, this takes a massive amount of power and meditative ability. Most of us can't focus for more than a few minutes. So this is why most of this stuff seems so unnatural. Like, man, this Nakula guy is crazy. This is stuff like, in science fiction movies. This isn't real. But I will tell you from personal experience that the more that you can focus your mind and you can let go, think about our world today. I mean, like, we have so many distractions. Again, most people can't focus. There was an article that was written that says that the average focus for someone is now 7 to 10 seconds. That's why in videos, even in these videos, we flash and we go here and we cut in and cut out and we move things and move. It's to keep your attention. That's the truth. Now, it's great for information, but essentially you should shut these videos off and learn to meditate for long periods of time. You will notice your own ability to move your consciousness. One of the things I train my students to do is move their mind throughout their body, which moves their energy. We work with this energy ball in which we create and then move it throughout the energy centers of our body, allowing us to explore our own bodies with higher intention and awareness. And because you are part and parcel of the universal body, you are not separate to it. Why wouldn't you be able to move your focus into different parts of the universe and explore and expand? Are you not doing that when you're dreaming? Are you not in a different dimension? Absolutely, you are in your subtle body. Prakamya. This CD is that a person can understand another person's mind without having that person necessarily reveal themselves. I'll give you a practical example of where this becomes very useful. Just yesterday, I almost got scammed on a scam. There's tons of scams coming around. And I got this email saying that we were charged $500 for some, for some cryptocurrency with a crypto tool that we had some familiarity. I say we, me and my wife, have some familiar experience with. And we set up an account, but we never purchased and we never used it. And I thought, oh my goodness, like, how did that happen? And so it came with a whole PayPal thing and just call this number if you want to dispute the transaction. And so I called the number and I started talking to this guy and he was really professional. But my spidey senses, my Prakamya start going off. And I started getting this hint, this notion that something's off about this. I could understand the mind of the person I was talking to. I couldn't tell details, but I could understand something was off. And so I didn't move forward with it. And into further investigation, we found it is a scam and there was no money charged. In fact, if I had went along with it, I would have given them my information and access to my screen because that's what they were trying to get to. And then I would have probably lost a ton of money to this. So this is a very practical application. I've had conversations with people where I'm like, okay, I'm not getting the whole story here. And I've pressed them to get the whole story and had things revealed. As you get sharper in your own self-mastery, you won't be taken as easily. You'll be able to tell whether somebody's bullshitting you or not, whether someone's scamming you or not. And you'll be able to see into the characters of the people around you and recognize, who is surrounding me and is this the best place for me to be? This gives you tremendous amounts of insight into your own world. The seventh perfection is Isitva, which means hegemony. And hegemony is leadership or dominance, especially by one country or special group. So the leader of a nation, the leader of a religious movement, the leader of a group. It is the title of a god, not God, because God is the ultimate leader, but a god. In fact, actually, coming into this power, you are placed in the category of a immortal. If you actually, I just finished watching the documentary Alexander, The Making of a God. He would have attained this. And what's really interesting is he was quite open to all different types of practices, nations, and sort of religious expressions. And many people around him couldn't understand him. But Alexander was a character within our own history that we can see led many, many people and was a great conqueror. Modern folks like this are people like Gandhi, Martin Luther King. They were able to lead people at such a high level. And this is considered the seventh perfection. You are placed at a level of leadership in which you can influence society. And the eighth, Vasitva. A seeker can subdue any person or thing, whether it's an animal, a bird, or another human being. He can defeat anyone in battle, and ultimately, he can control the minds of others. And this is said to be a high level of mastery, which comes obviously with a high level of responsibility. It is like, I compare it to like the queen bee in a beehive, in which by her vibration, she controls the entire hive. In a way, she is like a demigod controlling her people. Similarly, there are masters who have been able to attain this type of control. We know of yogis controlling snakes. We know of Native American shamans being able to transform themselves into eagles or wolves, or control a pack of wolves or animals, making friends with them. These are the 8 mystic perfections or divine attainments. Now, again, for most people, I lost them on the first sentence of this video. But if you're still watching, it's because you've also reached a level of consciousness, or at least curiosity, in which you know at some level that this is possible. What I love is that it's not really about attaining these powers. If you get to attain some powers, then great. Good for you. Congratulations, you've been given a gift. It's really about developing your consciousness so that you can attain self-realization and ultimately God realization. And therefore, then, these become a natural gift in which you are granted. But mastery starts with mastering your own life. You know, it's not about going and trying to walk on water, because if you can walk on water, but you're struggling to pay your bills, or you're struggling to have good, healthy relationships, or you're, struggling to eat well, why don't we start with those things, right? Let's start with the basics. First thing to control. The first step to self-mastery is controlling the tongue. Only speaking when necessary, only speaking truth, and controlling what you eat. If you can do those 3 things, you will notice that it's easier to control your power, and then therefore your genitals. And when you control your genitals as a man, you then practice semen retention. And as you practice semen retention, and I've done a ton of videos on it, so check out the last video that I did about the science of semen retention and supernatural powers. This video is kind of like a second part to that. You can learn more about how semen retention is essential to this process. But essentially, without semen retention and without the transmutation of your S3X energy, none of this is possible for you. None of this is available for you. Why? Because you will be controlled by your animalistic-based desires. And as long as you're controlled by your animalistic-based desires, you will never tap into the higher frequencies that live dormant within you or that are available to you. So start with the basics, start with the fundamentals, and work your way up. Progress. Perfection, let that happen naturally. You work on progress. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, leave your comments below. Would love to hear what your experiences are, what mystical experiences you've had. and share those in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next video.